young, so are we, baby. The night is young, so let's have some fun. If you love me right, yeah, this could be the summer of our lives now, honey. Give it to me like you know you should now, baby. This could be the summer of our lives, the summer of our lives. The sunset's on fire, tell me your desires. We're not getting tired, baby, take me higher. I'm Sunday, you love it, come on, give me something. I know that you want it, boy. The night is young, so are we. So maybe you should leave with me.
Hello. I hope you can hear me, everybody. Let me pull my comments back up. Okay, there we go. Perfect. I hope you can hear me. There's not anybody right now to tell me if you can hear me or not, but so far everything on my end looks good. So we're going to forge on. Welcome. My name is Staci. If you haven't watched any of my videos before, obviously I travel a lot. I'm also a registered nurse, so that gives an extra element there to travel tips. But right now I am in Las Vegas. I'm going to tell you, so the first time I ever came to Las Vegas was like 2005, and it was just for a weekend. I was freshly 21, and I did what all freshly 21-year-olds do. I did everything, and I was so exhausted. And I just remember thinking, gosh, I don't know if Las Vegas is like my place. And of course, now that I'm much older, again, that was like 17 years ago, I was just like, I don't have the stamina for Las Vegas. But I came here last month for a conference for video creators, and I kind of just fell in love with it. It was so vibrant and alive, and there's really so much more to do here than just gamble or get drunk, which is kind of, I think all these years, that's the only thing I was thinking was like, well, we don't really gamble, and I don't have the stamina to drink all that alcohol. But anyways, so much more to do here. So I kind of wanted to go into sort of some general tips about Las Vegas. Maybe it's your first time coming to Las Vegas. Maybe you're like me and just haven't been in a long time. And then, of course, as anyone comes into the chat, if y'all have any questions, feel free to throw them at me. Whether it's about Las Vegas or something else, it doesn't really matter. So I will just kind of get started. I think my biggest tip, because I hear this a lot, my biggest tip for you is honestly, if you can, just stay at a resort on the Strip. I'm kind of a penny pincher when it comes to planning our travel. I do most of our travel planning between Jeff and I, and he'll even tell me, he's like, I don't want to stay in a dump just to save a couple of bucks. But I know sometimes you're on a very limited budget, and that makes total sense. But especially if you come here during the week, like if you can swing getting a Monday through Thursday trip, that's when you're going to find the prices are the cheapest, whether you're looking at resorts, whether you're talking about food and beverage, shows. Monday through Thursday is kind of their, I'm not going to say it's the off days of Las Vegas, because to me, Las Vegas is like New York City. It's always buzzing. There's always something happening. But as far as cost goes, Monday through Thursday is going to be your best bet, getting the best deals. And even at resorts on the Strip, you can absolutely get a hotel for like $50 a night. Again, it kind of depends on the season, the time of year, is there a holiday, whatever. But booking during the week will really save you some bucks. Now, we'll say, and kind of add on to that, all of these resorts have something called a resort fee. You can't get out of it. You have to pay it. And on average, it could be 15 to even $50 per day that you stay. And they say that's for like your Wi-Fi, your access to the gym, your access to printing out your boarding passes and all these things. I don't know. I think it's just another way to get money, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, so you're going to have that tacked on to whatever your base price is. So even if you get a great deal at a resort, let's say it's like 50, 60, $75 a night. That's awesome in Las Vegas, but you need to tack on in your mind, find out what the resort fees are. Let's say it's another $30. So on top of the 50, Now it's going to be $80 a night. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, definitely Monday through Thursday, you're going to get your best deals here. And then the weekends, honestly, the weekends for resort prices here can almost triple, which is what it is tonight. Well, no, last night. So it's Sunday now. We came in, so like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, even our prices from Friday to Saturday doubled. And I even looked at prices for Thursday. So like a price on Thursday was like $80 a night. And then once you got to Friday, it was more like $150 a night or so. And then Saturday night, now I got us the deal, but Saturday night was like $450 a night. That's a big difference. It's for the same room, but it's a Saturday, it's a weekend. This is also 4th of July weekend, which I'm sure made it a little bit more expensive. So just keep that in mind when you're planning your trip. If you can definitely do Monday through Thursday, that's going to be your best bet. But one of the reasons why I say stay on the strip, kind of back to where I started, I ramble a lot, I'm sorry. I was like, oh, well, I'm going to stay off the strip and get a better, cheaper rate. And then I'll just walk to the strip or I'll just Uber to the strip. Walking to the strip, you're going to be walking a lifetime. And on top of like really wearing yourself out, you're going to be wasting what I consider to be valuable vacation time just trying to walk 45 minutes somewhere. Also, Uber prices when you're staying off strip, especially in peak demand time. I remember when I came last month, I stayed well off the strip because that's where a conference was. It was a $50 Uber ride each way. So yes, I was saving some money staying off the strip, but then I was paying $50 for an Uber ride in, $50 for an Uber ride back home, or back to the hotel. And so I was trying to not take a lot of rides back, and I would just I would stay here all day long so that I didn't have to go back and forth. But if you do plan on going back and forth, maybe you want to take a nap or change in the middle of the day, that's going to be another 2 Uber rides. So tack that on if you want to stay off strip. It's not really saving you a lot of money if you've got an extra $200 in Uber fares every day. And then same thing with the walking. The Vegas trip is long, my friends. Depending on where you're staying, it could be 4 to 7 miles total, back and forth. And I know even for us, we're staying at MGM Grand, and in a minute I will pull up a map to kind of show you what I'm talking about. But from MGM Grand, we thought, okay, we want to go down to Fremont Street, which is downtown. You can take the monorail, but it only takes you as far as the Sahara Resort, and then walking. But when we looked it up, it was going to be another 30 to 45-minute walk. And so we just got an Uber there and we took an Uber back. But you're going to be walking so much. That, yeah, I really would try to encourage you to stay on the strip. This is where you're going to be probably anyway. This is where all the stuff is going on. It's going to save you a lot of time. It's going to save you a lot of money in taxi or Uber fares. Let me pull up a map, and I think that'll kind of give you maybe a better idea of what I'm talking about. Let me see if I can get this pulled up. I'm going to share this. There we go. So I kind of pulled up this map earlier, and I want to show you where they consider the strip to start. Let me see if I can do this, and then I can move it around. I hope that you can see what I'm doing. Let me test this out. This is only the second live stream. Oh, it did work. Yay. This is only the second live stream I've done, so I'm still practicing. Okay, let's see here. Okay. So for instance, now personally, and I do not live here, obviously, but personally, I kind of consider Mandalay Bay down here. For me, that is the furthest south on the strip that my mind goes, and that's the furthest south that I've ever been. There is some other stuff down here. The fabulous Las Vegas sign is going to be right down here if you want to go see that. So I guess technically maybe that's where I should move my brain, to the south part of the strip. But anyways, Mandalay Bay is really as far as I go as far as walking. And we are here at the MGM Grand. So quit doing that. This street right here where my mouse is, this is the strip. And then this over here is I-15. So don't get confused. This is not the strip. This is an interstate. This road right here is the strip. And this is where pretty well all of your hotels, resorts, activities, this is where they're going to feed off of this Las Vegas Boulevard Strip. So MGM Grand, again, that's where we're at now. This is what I think I hear people say is kind of south center of the Strip. Most people, when they come to Las Vegas, I hear they want to stay kind of center of the Strip so that you're, equal distance from the northern part and the southern part. That's going to put you somewhere in here around the Bellagio. You're probably going to recognize the Bellagio, I would say, from movies like Ocean's 11. That big fountain scene at the end. They've got that free fountain show out front. It's absolutely like so much fun. It's beautiful. But right around here, kind of Bellagio, Caesar's Palace is next door to that. The Cosmopolitan is there. Harrah's, all of that is right what I would consider to be the center of the Strip. And then the north part of the Strip is going to be down here at the Strat Hotel, the Sahara, Circus, you may have heard of. Resorts World is right here. The Wynn Resort is there. Maybe you've heard of the Venetian. The Venetian is here. And then if you're looking for other resorts like the Paris, it's here across from Bellagio. So, this is long. This is many, many miles of walking. So don't think when you come to Las Vegas that you're going to be able to just walk everywhere. That's what I love to do. And then I'll try to take public transportation if I can, but it's not like they don't have a subway or something here. They do have a monorail, and the monorail does go quite far. But even if you take the monorail from, let's say, MGM Grand up to, I don't know, Bellagio, maybe you're going to go to the fountain show, you still have quite a bit of walk. I'd say a good other 15, 20 minutes to walk from the station over to the resort. And most of these resorts are huge. So that's going to also incorporate a lot of walking. I mean, from us to get from the room here at MGM Grand, like down to the front lobby, is probably a good 15-minute walk easily. Because this place is so massive. And I spent a few hours yesterday just walking around from one end to the other trying to film stuff. It took forever. I reached my goal on my watch for steps before I even really did anything, just trying to kind of get my bearings. So I don't think, well, as far as mobility friendly, well, we'll get into that in a little bit. But anyways, this is the map. So this kind of hopefully will give you an idea maybe of where you're looking to stay. I don't think that MGM Grand to me is too far away from the activity, but we do usually take the monorail to get back up here to like Bellagio or to the Venetian. Matter of fact, while we're talking about transportation here, let me zoom this in because I want you to kind of see where the monorail goes. So the monorail here in Las Vegas is a paid service. It's not free, but they do have either a single fare. They also have a daily fare, or like we got a 3-day pass, and the 3-day pass was about $29, $30. Again, if you get that during the week, sometimes it's cheaper. I know I did that the last time I stayed here was about $24, but that gives you unlimited rides per ticket for the whole 3 days or however long you've bought it. So as much as we've ridden it, I really feel like we get our money's worth. And if anything, I'm willing to pay that money for convenience to get us places faster and to take some wear and tear off of our bodies and off of our feet. So the monorail on the south end will end pretty well here at MGM Grand. At MGM Grand is that they do have their own station. So that's been handy for us because the monorail doesn't stop at each resort as it goes up and down the strip. It passes several resorts. And that's why I keep saying once you get off the monorail, you're still going to do a lot of walking because the next stop up for us would be, let me zoom in. Let me see where it was going to top us off here. I think it's Bally's. The next stop up would be Bally's. So even here, like this is where we're at MGM Grand. The monorail is going to go way up here to Bally's and it'll drop you off. So you've skipped a lot in between those two stops. So you're still going to have a ton of walking. But it does help take the wear and tear off your feet if you're going longer distances. So anyways, the monorail goes from MGM Grand, and then it will go all the way up here. And the very last stop, let me keep going, is the Sahara, way up here. This is not downtown. We were just going to ride it and see how far it went, hoping that it went downtown. It does not, like down to Fremont. Fremont Street experience, but at least it'll get you to Sahara. Sahara was actually a lot nicer than I thought it would be. We may have to stay there one day, but it will make, I don't know, maybe 6 stops between MGM Grand and Sahara. But again, that is a paid service. Now, they do have some train on the other side of the strip. So let me get back down here because I know there's one in between Mandalay Bay and Excalibur. Let me see if I can show you. And this is on your maps because I just got Google Maps pulled up. Let's see. Where's Excalibur? Oh, okay, here we go. So you can see them on your map. They're kind of a light gray line. So here's Mandalay Bay. And you can kind of see this little tram line that goes up here. It will stop at Luxor and it'll stop at Excalibur and then it'll go back. And then that's where if you needed to keep going up the strip, you would cross over a bridge here, go into MGM Grand, get on the monorail and go down if you needed to. They do have another tram on the same side of the street as this tram. Let me see. It was right up here. Can't remember if it goes, I can't remember exactly where it goes, but they've got another one kind of up in here. Oh, here it is. From Aria to, I don't know, maybe Cosmopolitan, but they've got several trams on the other side of the street. So you've got monorail on one side of Las Vegas Boulevard, trams on the other. Trams are free. They don't go as far. Monorail is paid, but it goes further. So that hopefully will help you kind of figure out, maybe where you want to, how you want to get around the strip. Again, they do have taxis. Taxis are fine. Taxis a lot of times are going to be a flat fare depending on how far you go. I will tell you, if you come down to the strip from the airport, I always just get an Uber. It's a flat rate. I already know what I'm going to pay no matter what. The fee doesn't change. As soon as I book it, that's what I'm paying. The problem with the taxis is it's also a flat fee from the airport down here to the strip, depending on which resort that you're staying at. And it's on the sign. I think, for instance, for us, because we're South Strip and we're the closest to the airport, it's like $19. A little bit further down the strip is going to be somewhere like $25-$30. And then further down the strip, or maybe even Fremont, it's going to be more like $40. The problem that I find with taxis is sometimes, and this is illegal here in Las Vegas, but sometimes taxi drivers will take you the long way and rack up those fees. Again, it is illegal to do that. I saw a penal code for it on somebody else's video. So technically, if they do that to you and they really try to like gouge you on it, technically you don't have to pay the fare and you need to call the police because they will issue them a ticket. They're not supposed to be doing that, but I just like Uber. I use it all the time. The airport has a dedicated Uber section in the parking garage. It is very busy, but I haven't had any problems with it, and I just like it. Oh, we got a comment. Hi, this is actually my mom. Hi, Mom. Mom wants to know, is there a public bus transportation on the strip? There is a public bus. They have one. We have not used it. They have one called the Deuce that will take you up and down the strip. I know they also have, what is it, like an RTF? It's like the other public bus transportation that they kind of have with the other public transportation in the city. I don't know the fees on that. I'm sorry. Once this live stream is put up on my YouTube video, I'll put a link down here for the public transportation sites, the monorail, some information about the trams. That way, also, you can help plan your trip if you're watching this video in the future, because we all know prices change. But yeah, they do have a public bus transportation. The only problem I find with that versus the monorail, and I don't think it's a Las Vegas thing, I think it's anywhere you go that's got a lot of traffic because the is busy. You're going to get stuck in that traffic the same way you would if you were in a taxi or an Uber, which could mean that it takes a very long time to get up and down the strip because the buses don't have a dedicated bus lane, versus using the monorail, for instance, especially if you're not really getting too far north on the strip. If you're going to stay between MGM Grand or even Mandalay Bay and the Sahara, which is that's a great distance. And that honestly is most of the hotels people are going to be staying in when they come to Las Vegas. The monorail is your best bet. It's pretty cheap. It's like $10 a day. Ride that sucker, get your money's worth. I mean, honestly, for me, even $10 a day. Let me put her thing up here. I can do this. There we go. Even $10 a day for me, if it saves me some wear and tear on my feet and it saves me a lot of time, I'm all for it. I know, for instance, last night we wanted to go film the Bellagio fountain show, and it said it was going to take us 45 minutes minimum to walk from here to Bellagio. Whereas we took the monorail and we got there in like 15. So yeah, but yeah, you can get on the bus if you want to. I think it would be better during maybe the daytime. Traffic is still not great during the daytime, but it's not as bad as nighttime. At nighttime, it's almost virtually standstill. So yeah, so those are my biggest things as far as transportation and resorts. Where do you want to stay? How much is it going to cost you? The big name resorts are of course going to be more expensive, and I'm talking Mgm Grand, even Park MGM that they just they bought out the hotel that was there and made it Park MGM. New York, I think is sort of a bigger name of a hotel. It is going to be kind of more up there as far as cost, but not as much as places like MGM Grand, Bellagio, Caesars. Those are going to be kind of your big hitters. So if you want to stay center of the strip, whether it's a big hitter or not, you're going to pay a little bit more. And then if you're going to stay at these kind of big name resorts, you're going to pay a little bit more money. So it's kind of, you have to, I think in every travel situation, you have to make some sort of sacrifice. It might not be a big sacrifice, but you have to make some kind of sacrifice, or not a sacrifice, but what's your priority? Do you want to stay center strip? That's your absolute priority. Everything you want to do is right there, and that's going to save you a lot of time. Time is money. Then do that. Put your spending that you are going to allot into that basket. Maybe you don't really care where you're going to stay because, you're going to be out. You're going to be on the strip all day and all night, and you just need a place to crash until you get up the next day and do it again. Then yeah, definitely stay at one of these lower end hotels. They do have some hotels that are technically off strip, but they're right here, like right behind MGM Grand. So you will have to walk just a little bit to get to the strip. It's not terrible, but it will probably help you save a little bit of money. And then of course, like I say, if you just don't care, I know the Oyo Hotel, or maybe it's over here, the Oyo Hotel. I have not heard very good reviews about it. I know people that say they'd rather sleep in their car than stay there. I've never stayed there. Don't know anything about it, but it is cheap. I'm talking like $30 a night. Not really hardly a resort fee, maybe like 10 or $15. Very cheap. Split that between 2 to 4 people. That's cheap. That's just, again, that's not my priority. I don't always have to stay at MGM Grand. We just stayed here because I got lost here. If you follow me on Instagram, you will know the last time I was in Las Vegas, I was just trying to get to the monorail, but you have to come through MGM Grand to get to the monorail. I got lost here, and that's the point. Ooh, I had another thing I was going to talk about here, but let's talk about that. Resorts here obviously make all their, let me put this down. This is not my first live stream, but you may think that it is. Okay. There are 4 Starbucks in the MGM, so you're not going to be at a loss for coffee. Yeah, getting lost in resorts. In my opinion, I think that's the point. I think that these resorts kind of lure you in. There are signs all outside the MGM Grand for the monorail, but once you get into the resort, which really, I mean, the first thing you do is walk straight into the casino, there are no more monorail signs. And that's how I got so turned around the last time I was here. I walked around for a good 45 minutes to an hour, and I eventually kept just having to keep asking people as I was walking down because the place is so big and it's like a labyrinth. And everything, all signs lead you back to the casino. So yeah, that's why I got lost. I eventually found the monorail, but it is in the, you have to pass through the casino, pass all the shops, past the food court, keep going, and you will find it. There's not really a sign. You just have to know what hallway to go down. But they don't want you to leave. And they want you to get lost so that you'll see probably some slot machine or some table game and be like, you know what? I'll put my money out. I'll gamble a little bit. No big deal. Another thing that casinos do, if you did not know this, that it's all a numbers game. They do the research. So yeah, there's not a ton of signage to try to get you out of the casino. A lot of the signage puts you in the casino, and then once you get in the casino, you're just kind of at your own whatever. They keep it cold in there. One, I think for alcohol, you're drinking, and the cold air helps with nausea, but I think it's also to keep you awake. Casinos do all these things to try to lure you in and keep you there. There are no clocks. I don't know if you've ever noticed that. No clocks in any of these casinos that I've seen. Of course, you got your watch if it doesn't die. Of course, you got your phone if it doesn't die, if you look at it. But yeah, there are no clocks. You don't know what time it is. There are no windows to the outside. You don't know if it's daytime or nighttime. They keep the bright lights on. Of course, you've got all the flashing. Can't talk. You've got all the flashing slot machines. I have not been drinking today. It's just the coffee, I swear. So that's another way they keep you alert and keep you in the casino. And obviously, they give you free drinks while you're playing. So all of these things, including the music, apparently I heard they do like A/B testing on music, on songs, which ones people like for gambling and staying in the casino and partying and which ones they don't. There's all of these kind of subliminal things that are happening around you to keep you in the casino and keep you gambling, because Las Vegas wasn't built on the winners. Las Vegas is built on the losers. You've heard it time and time again, but only bring the money here that you can absolutely stand to not go home with. And go ahead and just know that you're not coming home with that money. If you win, great. You are the exception. But you need to come to Las Vegas, whether it be for gambling, whether it even be for food or drinks, because there's so many options. Shopping is in your face every 5 seconds. Only bring the money here that you can absolutely stand to not go home with, because the odds are that you're not going to go home with that money. And you need to be able to feel comfortable with that. Don't keep spending or gambling or buying donuts or whatever you're doing and then not be able to pay your rent or your mortgage, because it is very enticing and it's so much fun. We're not even gamblers, and we sat out on Fremont Street till 3 a.m. the other night on accident. We were trying to stay up and kind of get on Las Vegas time, because we're from central United States, which is 2 hours ahead of where we're at now. And so we were trying to kind of scoot our clocks back, and we thought, okay, we need to stay up a little bit later here so that we can get on Las Vegas time. We ended up staying up a little too late, but we had so much fun. We practiced gambling. We're not good at it, but we practiced and we had a good time. That's all that matters. Okay, we talked about that. Let's talk about food and drink costs, since we're talking about costs and spending your money. On average, I would say an average alcoholic beverage here is somewhere between $10 and $20 to $25 a drink. I keep seeing 18 a lot for cocktails. Beer is somewhere around 12 ish, depending, and it always depends on the size. They've got at Fat Tuesday, I think they've got like the 24-ounce daiquiris for like $16. And then you can get up to this big yardstick for like 40. So it always kind of depends on what you're getting, where you're getting it, and how big of a drink that you want. They've got some fun cocktails, a lot of creativity. We have had mint infused gin with a watermelon puree. There's a drink over here at the Cosmopolitan that I want to do that it's like a margarita. And what you're supposed to do is you sip the margarita and there's this flour on top. And then you eat the flour and it makes your mouth feel buzzy, or maybe it changes the taste or something. And then you keep drinking and it's supposed to it's an experience. Everything here in Las Vegas is an experience, but it is going to cost you. There are some there are some deals you can find, whether it be happy hour deals, which usually run during the weekdays between, I'd say 2 2 and 5 or 3 and 6, somewhere in there. They do have some places that have happy hour specials on the weekend. They're just not as those deals just aren't as easy to find on weekend because that's when everybody comes versus Monday through Thursday. But those drink specials I've seen as low as like Wahlburgers down here in front of, I think it's Bally's. They've got two drinks or 2 draft for $7. That's pretty cheap. That's like $3.50. Each of you gets a beer. That's a cheap drink on the strip, especially kind of center strip. But it's same thing yesterday. We went over to New York just to walk around, and they had a pizza and beer special, $9.99. So you got a big old slice of New York pizza, New York style pizza, and you got like a 16-ounce draft beer for $10. That's a pretty good deal. They also have other places to eat here. Really, if you want to save money on food, you're going to have to do like fast food. Sit down restaurants are easily going to cost you $50 to $100 a person. Easy. Even kind of the ones I would say that aren't as high end. I mean, we ate at Crush last night here at Mgm Grand. It's going to be in my Mgm Grand video that I'm making. I would say it's not the most expensive thing they have here by any means, but we still walked out of there spending about $100 a person without even trying. So you have to kind of think about that. You can still eat awesome food here. You can't necessarily, I wouldn't put it in your schedule to eat a sit down meal every meal or even every night at dinner because you're going to blow through your money really, really fast. But if you don't mind eating fast food, they've got a lot of good brunch deals. They've even got I'm not a Taco Bell person. I gave up Taco Bell a long time ago, but I would probably go to this Taco Bell on the Strip because it just looks really fun. I think they've got like a DJ in there, and you order these robots, and it's just an experience. Again, everything here is an experience, and I would go to the Taco Bell for that experience. They've got In-N-Out. In-N-Out's pretty cheap, and it is, I think, don't come for me, I think In-N-Out is excellent food. You can get a burger for like $3.50, get you some fries and a drink. You're less than $10. So you can definitely come to Las Vegas on a budget. You just need to kind of, again, prioritize. Where do you want to put the biggest eggs of your basket? Where do you want to put them? Is it food? Is it drinks? Is it experiences? Do you want to see shows? Do you want to go to the day clubs or the nightclubs? Would you rather stay in a nicer hotel? Is your priority gambling? So when you're making your travel list here, just think about first, I would make a list like, what are my priorities? What are my top 3? And that way it'll help you kind of figure out where you want to put most of your budget. Oh, hi, I've got some other people here. Yay. Hi, Maria. Let's see. Let's put this up here. Maria says, hi from Little Elm. Did you drive from Vegas to Antelope Canyon? No, we did not. Antelope Canyon is quite far from Las Vegas. So Antelope Canyon in that video that we were, you're probably talking about maybe my Antelope Canyon video. That's in Page, Arizona. Matter of fact, here, I'll just pull up a map. Let's see how much time do we have? Okay, we got about 30 minutes. I'll pull up a map because a lot of times you're going to hear, oh, hold on. Now I don't like that one. Let's see. Can you see me now? No? Oh, I see what I'm doing. See, I got it. There we go. Okay, I'm going to get it. A lot of times you'll hear go on some day trips from Las Vegas, get out off the strip while you're here and go see some stuff. And I absolutely agree with that. Matter of fact, that's going to be in one of my tips videos that I'm making here. The thing you need to realize is that the Grand Canyon, obviously, it's huge. That's why it's grand. But here is Las Vegas. So this is the big metropolitan area is what I'm going to call it, of Las Vegas. And then the Strip is this tiny little street right down in here. Getting out to the Grand Canyon, you're going to have to drive out of town, and you're going to be driving east. I would say, depending on the time of year, because the northern end of the Grand Canyon is closed for the winter. If you're here during the summertime, you should be able to go north or south to get to the Grand Canyon. You should be fine. But the Grand Canyon, the northern rim does close down, I think, come like October through April. So a lot of people will come out of the city. They'll rent a car. They'll come out of the city and they will go out here. See, it says Grand Canyon West, for instance, and they will view the Grand Canyon over here. Antelope Canyon is on the other side of the Grand Canyon over here in Page. Let me see if I can zoom back in a little bit. I think I went out a little too far. Okay. Yeah, now you can see it. Page, Arizona is way over here. And that's where you're going to have Antelope Canyon, the very Instagram famous Horseshoe Bend where we went. And that was easier for us to get to because we went to the east side of the Grand Canyon National Park down here. And then we just we already had a rental car. And then we drove a couple of hours. I think it was like 2.5 hours up here to Page, Arizona. Whereas if you are staying out here in Las Vegas, you are going to have to see probably like this side of the Grand Canyon, way over here. And it doesn't look like it's that far from the west side to where we were over here at the National Park entrance. It's several hours. But I would definitely encourage you, if and when you come to Las Vegas, if you have the time, I would say if you have more than a few days, maybe allot one of those days to do something outside of Las Vegas, outside of the Strip. I don't think that you could probably go see the Grand Canyon in just a day trip unless you wanted to get up very early, drive out there, see the Grand Canyon for an hour or two, and then drive back because it will take you a couple of hours to get out there. You want to have enough time to really take in the Grand Canyon, in my opinion. So I don't like to feel rushed when I go see something that majestic. So if it were me, if I were planning my trip to the Grand Canyon from here, I would just plan to stay one night out there and then drive back the next day and continue on my trip. Another thing you can do when you come to Las Vegas is go see the Hoover Dam. Might want to see it before there's no water. We actually saw it on the airplane right before we landed. I just happened to be glancing out the window. I was like, oh my God, it's the Hoover Dam. I've never been there. I've never seen it in person. I've only seen it in movies. My mom will get this, but Vegas Vacation, I watched that before we came here. And of course, there's a big scene of them at the Hoover Dam messing things up, of course, because it's National Lampoons. But let me show you if I can see on this map where the Hoover Dam is. It's not far. I think you could get out there in like 30 minutes. Here it is. Yeah. So again, reference, here's the Strip. Way out here is the Hoover Dam. I would actually say it might take an hour to drive out there. Allot yourself an hour. But the Hoover Dam, if you're not an American, or if you are, the Hoover Dam was always seen as kind of this big wonder because it was the biggest dam at the time that they built, a man-made dam to hold in, all the water. I think is it Lake Powell? And so it's always just kind of been this thing that, you need to go see the Hoover Dam. It's huge. I don't know. But yeah, definitely that would be a great thing to do if you came to Las Vegas. There's also a bunch of hiking trails outside of Las Vegas. And there's a lot of things to do off the Strip, to be fair. I know there's a place called Area 15. It's just a little bit off the Strip. It's kind of like this huge art installation, but it's one of those things where I think there's one part where you're supposed to be walking through a grocery store, but it's a fake grocery store. And then there's secret doors. So like you can open up the door to the freezer, but technically you can walk through it and get to another side. I don't know. It just looks kind of neat. But yeah, there's a lot of things you can do out here, or maybe some short day trips that would only take you the day or 2 days. So look that stuff up. I am going to include it in some of my upcoming videos. So look out for those. Maria also says, how is cell phone reception? Honestly, it's not bad. When I'm here in the room, it's not great. MGM does give you Wi-Fi, and a lot of these resorts do give you Wi-Fi. Again, they're charging you for it. It's not free. It's included in that resort fee I talked about in the beginning. But cell phone reception has not been bad, considering there's a ton of people here right now. And this isn't even Las Vegas's high season because it's so hot. It's like 105 outside or more. But I thought that I wasn't going to have very good reception just out walking around because there's so many people. But it's actually pretty good. I have AT&T. I don't know what you have. But yeah, I have found it to be very good until you get into the hotels and casinos. And again, that might be one of those things they do to keep you in the casino. Turn off your cell service. You don't know what time it is. You're not getting any messages or whatever. Maria says, what driving direction app did you use? I don't know where you're trying to drive from. That might help. I don't really use a driving directions app other than what's on my phone. I have an iPhone, so I just use maps on here only because I feel like they've made so many updates to it that it's very well made. Because you've got the monorail on there, you've got driving directions on there, the trams are on there. I can toggle back and forth for directions between, do I want to drive? Do I want to walk? Do I want to take public transportation? So personally, I like that. And I love there's an app called City Mapper. I've mentioned it in some of my other videos, and I put some links on there. I'll try to put a link on the video description whenever this video actually posts. I don't know if they have one for Las Vegas. I honestly didn't look it up because I didn't need it, but I find City Mapper especially helpful if I go to a new big city that has public transportation, subways mainly. When I first started using it 6 years ago or longer, they only had like 3 cities. I think it was like London, maybe New York City, Berlin or something. But on that trip to London and Berlin, I'd never been anywhere. I'd never been to a big city. I especially had never been on a subway. And for a little small town girl like myself, we didn't have taxis. We didn't even have a bus system. Ask my mom. Mom, Debbie Dugan in the chat was my ride. Any transportation that I needed, she did it. And so using City Mapper, it has all the public transportation stuff on there. So I can just put in I want to go from Tower of London to my hotel. It will give you different options, kind of the way this is doing now, but this didn't used to, the Apple Maps or Google Maps didn't used to do this. And I think that's why I used it so much. But I think that they got that idea from apps like City Mapper. And it'll even kind of give you a GPS so you can see which direction you're going, but it will tell you, get in the tube on the corner of this street on the north end, walk 50 yards that way, take a right. It's very detailed. And I can even watch the City Mapper app dot move as I'm on the subway, even though I'm underground, because it uses GPS and ping points and stuff. So that way I can know when I'm getting close to my stop. Because I think it's very hard if you're going to a city that has subways for the first time and trying to learn how to read a subway map. Hey, if you want to see a video on how to read a subway map, subway systems, let me know, because I think someone else mentioned that. And now that I've figured it out, it might be a helpful video for you. So definitely tell me in the comments or in the chat if you want to see a video like that. But yeah, definitely, Maria, if you have an iPhone, I would say use that. Use the maps on there. Google Maps is also a good app to download. It's very detailed for me, and I think will allow you to download maps on your phone. But other than that, as far as Las Vegas, I don't really think that you need a ton of map until you get down here on the Strip and you're trying to figure out where you want to go. Trying to get a map in your mind, like I'm at MGM Grand. Where's the Bellagio from here? Or where's downtown from the Strip, just to kind of figure out where you're at. Let's look at some of these other messages. I'm sorry, I just kind of went on a rant for 15 minutes. Let's see here. Hi, Michelle. Michelle says, I sent Paul to Vegas with a shopping list for Tiffany's at M&M's World. Yes, ma'am. I'm telling you, anything you're looking for, you're going to find it. And sometimes you'll find 4 of them. I love Sephora. I've seen 4 Sephoras at least, because each one of these hotels, a lot of them have shopping centers underground or on a walkway, because they don't ever really want you to leave the resort, right? But if you leave the resort, they want you to shop along the way, and then they're going to spit you out inside another resort. So a lot of these resorts kind of come together. I'll use the Venetian and Bally's as an example. So there's a walkway between the resort and the casino at Bally's to the resort and casino at Venetian, but to get there, you have to walk through an air-conditioned, which is why I walk there. It's air-conditioned shopping center to get from both. And that way, both of these resorts have ensured that you haven't left their properties. You may be going from one casino to another or one resort to another, but I kind of feel like they do all these things to keep you in, because once you hit the street, you could go anywhere. But if they give you air conditioning so you don't have to walk around in the 105-degree heat, and they might get you to spend some more money while you're there, it's a win-win for them. But that's kind of another tip for Las Vegas. The last time I was here, it was hot enough. Try to walk through all of these casinos and resorts. A lot of them connect to where you're not having to walk out on the street in the heat, in the sun. Like I said, it's kind of by design. They do it on purpose. I don't mind walking through 5 casinos. I'm not going to spend any more money, but they're hoping that I will. But I'm taking the air condition in the shade, and it keeps me from getting it, too hot or a sunburn or heat stroke. So really walk around some of these casinos if you're already in one, because I bet you there's a hallway that's going to take you to the next resort over without you having to get out in the heat. Susan says, happy Sunday, Staci. Thank you, Susan. So good to see you. Let's see. She's from Washington, Seattle. I love Seattle. I think I told you that already before. I love Seattle. Tiffany says, we prefer going off strip to have a more relaxing meal. Absolutely. It is 100% more cost effective. You are correct. The modern vegan is one of our favorites. Might have to try that next time. We have said a million times, we're like, ooh, we're going to try that next time we come back. We're going to go there the next time we come back, because don't get overwhelmed. I mean, you will be overwhelmed. There's a lot of lights. There's a lot of things to do, a lot of things to see, a lot of things to eat. It's like New York City. You're never going to do it all on this one trip. I don't care if you're here for a month. You're still not going to do it all. So don't overbook yourself. I think that was one of my tips in my don'ts video that I'm making right now for Las Vegas. Don't overbook yourself. I'm bad about this. I want to plan out my whole day. But the thing is that there's so many other things here that are going to catch your eye. Also, it takes a lifetime and a lot longer than you would expect to do things, to get places. So if you overbook yourself, you're probably going to just wear yourself out, and you're going to end up missing reservations and stuff like that. So I would plan like maybe one thing to do a day, or maybe 1 or 2 things to do for the whole trip, and just kind of leave yourself open and free for whatever you come across, because Las Vegas is one of these cities that I think it's more fun to just walk around and see what I come up with, because there's so much to offer. But yeah, definitely, Tiffany, you're right. That's what I was talking about kind of at the beginning of this live stream. Everything's going to be more expensive right here on the strip, especially once you get to the center strip, or if you're at these big hitting resorts like Mgm Grand that we're at right now. Everything's just more expensive. Even the table bets and the slots are more expensive, which is another thing that got us down to Fremont Street the other night, because we were like, okay, we're not big gamblers, but we're going to try some roulette. Well, once nighttime comes around, the table bets go from $15 each or higher to $25 each or higher per bet. And so you blow through your money really quickly, and you don't get to stay and have more fun. Whereas we took ourselves down to Fremont, where the table bets were $5 a piece, which is way more our speed. And that's why we ended up sitting there for at least 3 hours just playing roulette, because we weren't losing any money. If anything, every hand I lost like $20, but I gained $20. So I wasn't winning a ton of money, but I was playing. We had a great group of people there. There were a couple of women, I think, that were here from New Jersey, they said, and they were on their last night. They were a hoot. So we just had a good vibe at our table, and Jeff and I were having a good time. And when you come to Las Vegas, that's what it's all about. It's about having a good time. You don't have to spend a lot of money for it. We had such a good time, not even winning or losing down there at Fremont Street. We just wanted to play the game, and we wanted to play it as long as we could. Again, we didn't really come out ahead or below. We came out with the same money that we started with. Fancy enough. But we got to play a game and met some new friends for a few hours. So we had a great time. Let's see what else we've got here. Oh yeah, Tiffany also says, as far as getting outside off the strip, they went to Death Valley and it was a nice day trip. I think it would be. I think it would be fun. It's been on a lot of movies too, and I think it would be just interesting to see. It's kind of another world out there. But yeah, there are so many different things that I didn't even talk about. Stuff to do as a day trip out here around Las Vegas, other than the strip. But the lights and the food and the music and the drinks do kind of lure you in down here. But yeah, there's a lot more to appreciate in Las Vegas and outside of Las Vegas than just the strip. So definitely, you've said it. I've said it now probably 6 times. Get off the strip at least one day and do some stuff out there. Staci, I was wondering if mobile apps like Waze or Google Maps works during the drive to Arizona. Yes, ish. So probably from here, if you're going to go like from here out to the Grand Canyon, I think it would be fine. I don't use Waze, so I've never tried that one. Google Maps did work, or like I said, the maps on your phone does work, because most of those if I would the app, don't do it on your browser. So Google Maps, you can look up on the web browser, like I showed you here on the computer or on your phone, or you can download the actual app. The app uses your GPS on your phone. And so that's going to work whenever you don't have cell service. It's still going to be able to, it might not be able to fully give you a full directions if you don't already have it pulled up. But I usually like to pull up all the directions that I need before I leave the city. And that way, or maybe download it. And that way I have it on these long drives, because a lot of times once you get out to the Grand Canyon, it's very remote. And so my Google Maps did work, but I also had already kind of looked up and downloaded the things that I needed. So all it had to do was pull up the stuff that was already on there. So you may think about that. But yeah, as far as getting out into the remoteness, even of way out there on the east side of the Grand Canyon, where it is very remote, I didn't have a problem using my apps on my phone as far as using GPS maps. I did not have a great time with other apps like my podcasts. I would have to download those before I left a city. Music, make sure it's downloaded on your phone before you leave the city. Anything like that, I don't know. I think you're going to lose a lot of service here and there. But once I got into the Grand Canyon, they were very good about having cell service there. So once we got on our drive, once we kind of got to the locations that we needed, so whether the city I was leaving or into the park at the Grand Canyon, those are the times that I had great cell service. Or Wi-Fi or something that I could use. But in between, like on the drive, it's spotty sometimes at best. Okay, where are we at on time? Have I talked a lot? Let's see if there's anything else on here. Definitely, if you have any other questions, let me know. I think that's the bottom of the question list at the moment. I kind of talked about food costs and drink. Here's something: alcohol. Most towns, you can't walk around with alcohol outside on the street, but here you can. That's kind of a big thing for us too. If this was like a daiquiri or something, it feels weird for us to walk outside of the casino, walk around on the street, because we think somebody's eventually going to come up and tell us, ma'am, you need to throw that away or whatever. But you can have open alcohol containers walking down here on the strip. Down here on the strip, like of Las Vegas, I'm not talking about downtown, but right here, you can't have any glass. No glass containers whatsoever. You can have refillable bottles, refillable, like the reusable stainless steel containers. All of that's fine. You can have paper cups, plastic cups, aluminum cans. Just no glass. Once you get down to Fremont, the rules change a little bit. You also cannot have any glass. So no glass anywhere. Just get that in your no glass. You can't have glass down there either, but then you also can't have aluminum cans and pretty well paper cups unless it is given to you in a drink that you bought down on Fremont. I think it just helps a lot with the trash. Fremont the other night was it was like Bourbon Street. It was a wild party. It was an experience. And I definitely tell you, you got to go down there and check that out. I loved the lights. I'm getting off on a tangent, but I love the lights. Down here on the strip, it's a lot of LEDs, kind of modern signs. But down on Fremont, it's all of the old signs with the bulbs. it just looks like 60s Las Vegas. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's well lit. Of course, the top of the Fremont Street Experience has that big like LED screen that extends the length of it, and it does change. So at one part of the night, it was doing fireworks because it's the 4th of July, and then another time, some music was on, and it was just like, I don't know, ambient whatever lights. But it was so much fun. There's a lot to do down there. Street performers, bars, casinos, food. It does get kind of wild. So it wouldn't be where I would want to go, I'd say, after midnight. It just gets too wild and crazy, and maybe less than savory characters down there. I probably wouldn't stay there past, I mean, we did stay there past midnight, but we were in a casino gambling. But anyways, but yeah, back to what I was talking about. No glass anywhere. Aluminum cans, plastic drinks, like the daiquiri containers and stuff. That's all good down there. If you bought a plastic drink down, or like I said, a paper drink down there at Fremont from a vendor, that's fine. But you can't go down to Fremont and, let's say, go into a shop like an ABC liquor store or Walgreens or whatever and buy something in there and then walk around Fremont and drink it. I think it does lend to trash, but I think they also want you to spend money to support the businesses down on Fremont, other than the count alcohol places or drink places. So if you bought something down there, let's say you went to ABC liquor store down on Fremont and bought it, they're going to put it in a paper bag and they're going to tape it up, because you're not supposed to be drinking that down there on Fremont. And if you do open it and get to drinking it, eventually security or somebody's going to stop you and tell you to get rid of it. Lots of security everywhere. Everywhere I look, especially on the weekends or these holiday weekends, I feel like every is another security guard, policeman, SWAT. There was a SWAT team down here last night. So I think Vegas is very safe, but as of anywhere where there's a ton of people, you need to really watch your surroundings. Areas. There was even a gentleman last night. He may live here, but he was really, and we were down at Bellagio, so it's not like we were in a back alley or something, but he wasn't of the right mind, and he was really kind of getting after this family, and I felt really bad because the dad was holding his little girl. The little girl was crying. The guy wouldn't leave them alone. Luckily, they did end up kind of, all of us come together, right? Especially when this little girl is crying. And so not me and Jeff, because we were on the other side, but the other pedestrians down there just kind of made a wall of people around this family, until they could walk enough to get away from him. You're going to find that anywhere. Like I say, just watch your surroundings. There's a lot of people there. There is a risk of pickpockets just because there's a ton of people. I have got some great videos that are going to be coming out about Las Vegas, like the things to do, the things to definitely not do. I have learned about some scams here in Las Vegas, even some that I didn't even think about. One of them is going to blow your mind, about the people selling water on the street. I don't know. So definitely make sure you're subscribed if you're here. Turn on your notification bell so that you don't miss those videos, because I have learned some things, y'all. And then, of course, like I said, I've got an Mgm Grand video coming out. I've got a whole video about free things to do here. We did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 free things last night. Didn't cost us a thing. It only cost us wear and tear on our feet and time. But monetary wise, didn't cost us a thing. So I got a video coming out about that. And then I'm going to try to make a video too about just general Las Vegas tips if you're a first time tourist here. So definitely make sure that you are subscribed. I've got 2 minutes left. Does anybody else have any more questions? I'll wait and see if you do. Best times of year to come here, I would say, I know a lot of people are off during the summer, but this is going to be your hottest time. It's hot. It is a dry climate, so it's different. The 105 here is still hot, and you're still going to get a sunburn. But for us, we've said a couple of times, it doesn't feel like 105 where we live in Texas, because it's so humid there. The 105 feels like 100 25, no, not really, but probably 112. Whereas here, 105 probably still feels like 105. But yeah, it's summertime is going to be in a way their low season. It's still going to be packed and busy because it's Las Vegas. But it's going to be kind of their low season because it's so hot. And then when you get down into the fall, winter, spring, that's going to be their high season because they've got cooler temperatures. It still gets kind of chilly here, especially at nighttime, like January. I think it's like a high in the 70, lows in the 40s or 50s. It has snowed in Las Vegas, especially during the winter, but the weather's a little bit better. So yeah, I would say if you're wanting to save some money, maybe come in the summer, but just prepare for the heat. If you want better weather, I would come in the winter. But a lot of the pools and day clubs and stuff like that are closed during the winter because it's cold outside. You can't be swimming around in the pool. I did hear that almost every big resort on the Strip has at least one pool that stays open year round. So you will still be able to get some pool time. It just might not be the bright, sunny, warm weather that you were looking for. So yeah, that's what I would say about when to visit. But anyways, I guess I'm going to end it here. Definitely leave me all of your questions and comments down either in the chat or when this video posts. There will be a comment section for you to post your questions in, and I'll get back to you about that. And then make sure you're subscribed, click the notification bell, hit that like button. I keep forgetting to say that, but it really helps the videos. Just pop in that like button real quick, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.